Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today. In fact, we are quite surprised that so many people are still interested in legacy projects in 2018. Or maybe it's not about legacy, but more Kubernetes now. Right. So I am Stéphane Tournier.
And I am Etienne Vrignot.
And today we would like to show you how we think cloud environment can help you improve your development lifecycle on almost any project. So just a little word about our company and ourselves. So we are working for a company called Sopra Banking Software. Quite obviously, we are building software for the banks. So Sopra Banking Software has office in India and mainly in Europe. And we have almost 70 R&D projects, in-house. In the company, our role at Etienne and I is to provide recommendation to all the projects. So we are part of a particular business unit, which is called Technical Foundation, and that aim to provide recommendation to all the projects from a technical point of view. So in this business unit, we are part of a team focusing on automation. So our goal is to provide efficient way to build CI pipeline or to use a cloud environment or anything about development workflow and so on. So I just want to focus 1 minute on the Sopra Banking platform. In fact, the Sopra Banking platform is the most sold product from Sopra Banking Software. And the platform is not just a product. This is a set of assemblies, as you can see. And each assembly in the platform is focusing on a particular business case, also on a particular business domain, and on particular banking domain. In each assembly, we have different components that can be technical or business-oriented. And at the end, all these components are creating one assembly. Each component has its own autonomous team working on it, its own development life cycle, and its own versioning schema. So at the end, in order to build one assembly and the platform, you have tens of teams working together. And as a transverse team, focusing on automation, we have to provide consistent recommendation to all the teams and on the possible configuration in the company. Just to make sure that you get this point, I want to switch to another domain, so the beer domain. It's maybe easier to understand. So if we consider the beer domain, each ingredient will be like a component. An assembly will be a beer, so a brewing of different components. And at the end, SBP could stand for Super Biz Package, like the Sopra Banking platform, but for beers. And so I think you can better understand what the platform is. So now that you get this one, I just want to have a look at the component on a technical point of view. In fact, each component is a mix of different technologies. We have components that are composing front, back, and database technologies, or less of them. On the left side of the table, in blue, you see the current and the legacy target in terms of technologies for the component. In the other part of the table, in green, you see the new target. In fact, the company is currently in the process of a global transformation in order to address the cloud. So we define a set of new targets for the components, and each component is switching at its own pace to the new target. So it means that at the end, currently, each component can be a mix of both legacy and new technologies. And one more time, as a transverse team, we have to provide consistent recommendation for all the possible configuration. So in our role in the company, I think that we are in a good position to have a good overview of the main problem and weaknesses on the project. In fact, we spend a lot of time doing interview of projects to gather all the needs. We work with a lot of projects when we need to do extended studies, for instance. We define pilot project. We get a lot of feedback. So we are working a lot with all the projects, and so we are able to see, I think, what the most important problems are on the project. So we just summarize a few of the observations we had on project in different sentences. Here is the first sentence. It's about setting up environment manually. I think that it's still true on a lot of companies that you have teams, and this is the case at Software Banking Software, where people are still setting up environment manually. So quite obviously, the main weakness here that it as a consequence is that people are losing a lot of time. They are wasting a lot of time setting up environment. In a second sentence, here it's more about sharing knowledge in the team. So one more time, we have a lot of teams that report that in their team, there is only 1 or 2 people that are able to maintain and update the existing tooling and environment. So it means that there is a pretty high dependency on one person. And as you may know, when you start having a dependency on one person in the company and not on a role or a team, you are starting having trouble. So the consequence here is that most of the people in the teams are afraid of doing things wrong, so they are just not trying to change anything on environment or tooling in their team. And so there is a huge lack of autonomy for a lot of people in the company. And in a last sentence, we want to highlight another problem, which is more about inter-team interaction. And in this case, what we see is that, as we said, a lot of teams are working together. So they define how they have to exchange artifact or anything between the teams. And we see that they are sometimes define overcomplicated processes just because they don't have a common language, in particular for environment, but for other things. And so the main consequence is that there is no trust between the teams, and there is a lot of error in the result they are expecting. So teams that are not getting the result they expect a lot of time, just because the process is not that easy to understand and to put in place. So based on this observation, we started to, one more time, discuss with projects, get feedback. We define a few pilot projects. We did a lot of different studies of Spike with the project. And at the end, we came with a proposal, which is a new, fully automated approach. And in this approach, there is 2 main items. First one, at the bottom, is infrastructure as code. So the main purpose of infrastructure as code is to stop wasting time to set up environment manually, and to just always define your environment and your runtime as file, so to describe them in a declarative way, and to save those descriptions into your project file. The big advantage of this is that you start creating a common language both in the team and across teams. On top of that, we add another item, which is GitOps. I don't know if you know this word, GitOps. Yes? No? Okay. Great. Thank you. So the main purpose of GitOps is to add systematic validation on any change, both on the infrastructure and in the source code of the project. With GitOps, when it's activated on projects, you will always have both a human validation and an automated validation for any change on infrastructure and in source code. So with that, so we are using standard tools for that. Of course, we are not reinventing the wheel. And you have a good way to start sharing knowledge and have a common language. So based on this approach, we have implemented a few use cases that you see on the right side of the slide. And we will try to show you in a few demos all these use cases are implemented with this new approach.
Okay, so to implement this workflow, we use several tools. So the first one is Docker, which is a standard, an industry standard. The second one is Kubernetes. We are using it mainly through OpenShift. which in fact is more friendly for the developers guys because there is a web UI. We're using also GitLab CI. GitLab CI, in fact, is not an industry standard, but it has killer features that are quite interesting. We will see in the demo. Other tools that we are using are scripts that we have developed. They are in the OCCI project. For this demo, we have built a little assembly. In fact, it's taken from realworld.io. They provide many front and many back. It's a medium.com clone. We choose to use one front and two back. They are all linked to one DB. All the boxes that are here are in fact Kubernetes objects, except the root, which are the green box. They are in fact OpenShift object dedicated to publish HTTP endpoints.
Just to be clear about the demo, we choose to not use any product from the company just because we will not be able to share the source or even the binaries, and we think that it's better, it's cool to be able to share all the material we are using for the demo.
Yeah. So let's go through the first use case.
Yeah, so in this first use case, we are in the situation where we are a component team member, so we are part of the team developing and maintaining the component, and we simply want to validate a new change against the your assembly. So in this case, the developer will push a new commit to the component repository, and it will trigger first the build of a new version of the image for the component. It will put it in an internal registry available to anyone. And then it will trigger automatically a new pipeline on the assembly project, but not on the original assembly project, but on a fork, which is the responsibility of the component team. So we will not interfere with the original assembly project. We will just push it to a fork which is, as they say, owned by the component team. And it will then trigger the CI pipeline on the assembly repository, automatically a new environment based on the image I just pushed.
Okay, so let's go with the first demo. So in this demo, I am a developer. I am part of a team, and I need to do a modification on the front. I don't want to break the master environment that is deployed on OpenShift. So for this, I will use a branch. I have already pre-created a branch that is a change banner. In fact, this will avoid to break the master environment and will allow me in order to validate my modification in this new environment. So to build this demo, we have created a group on gitlab.com. It is composed on the projects for the front and the back, and also the base image that we are using, and OCCI that provide tools. I will start by looking at the application. So here is the application that we are using. It's the Conduit one that, in fact, at this time contains one article. So this is on master, we can see here. Then I will, in the branch that is pre-created, create a modification. So just, in my case, I'm going to modify the home screen. The goal is to modify the banner.
Just to be clear, we are doing the change on GitLab directly because we are able to do that. And for a quite little change, it's easy to do. But we will be able to use the Get client quite easily too.
And the normal workflow when I'm a developer is to test on my laptop first. So doing this is
the next
not
step.
The best way. Once I've committed we can see the pipeline that is created. So the pipeline comes with some steps. First is building the application, then creating the image, Docker image, and then starting a review step, which in fact will trigger a pipeline on the assembly branch to update the environment. So during this time, because the pipeline takes time, we can see the pipeline itself. So this is git.gitlab.ci.yaml that is inside the front server project. And you can see here that this is using a global template that we will see later. And the build phase is declared here because it's specific to this project. Only we build it using this command. Then the global template. There are several steps. So this one is doing a OC new build in order to build the Docker image in OpenShift. Then this one is using a tool that is quite interesting. You can use it to test your Docker image. So it is GOS, but we have adapted for OpenShift. So there is a script that is OCGOS that called GOS. And then we have, for the production, we have
for both production and review.
We have the script that trigger the pipeline here. So GitLab trigger pipeline for both cases. That just starts in master. We can return to the pipeline and see what's going on.
Maybe show the full pipeline.
Yeah. In fact, so here we can see the multi-project pipeline and the trigger. Here we are still deploying in the assembly. We can see that integration tests are running. And if we return back, here we can create a merge request. I assign it to my teammate. I will check that to remove the branch once the merge request is accepted. Here we can see the pipeline is green, and I have the link to my new application with the new banner. That is modified. Once I'm done with my modification, I can merge a request, and we will see later what will happen. So we are going to the use case number 2.
So a second interesting use case is when you are part of the assembly team and you would like to do a technical change on the assembly itself. So it means that you have an assembly.yaml file in your assembly project repository. And for instance, you want to add a new component or update the database type or anything, or create a new route to a new component, something like that. In this case, there is no interaction with the component team or a component team. You will simply create a new feature branch and it will trigger a new environment for the whole assembly. But in fact, we will not do a demo for this use case as we have a last use case which is pretty the same in terms of workflow. Just in this case, this is when the component team, so one component get updated by its own team. The team push a new internal version of the component image to the registry. So they will notify the assembly team that they can test the new version of the component. And then one more time, the assembly team will create a new feature branch in order to test the change, this image update, and deploy a new environment for the whole assembly. You just see that in this case, there is no automated interaction between the component team and the assembly team, as we are working on the assembly main repository, and we don't want the component team to be able to update this main repository. So this is quite obviously the responsibility of the assembly team to update its own repository and then the dedicated environment. So there is no automated interaction. They just notify that a new version is available for the component, and the assembly team will do the change in their own YAML in the project.
Okay, so for this demo, I will just go ahead and create a new branch
On the assembly project.
in the assembly project. We can see that a pipeline has been triggered. In fact, it's mainly deploying a new environment in OpenShift. So we can see it here. It's creating. So for this demo, I am part of the assembly team. I am no more a developer. And some guys from the component team have provided me an image, and I want to test it. So in order to avoid to break the master environment, I have created a branch in the assembly, and I'm able this way to set the new version of my component and to test it. Once I will be OK with this, I will merge it back into the master, and the master environment will be updated. So I will do the modification. So here we can see we are in OpenShift. We can see that environment is deploying. It takes some time, so I think we can do the modification during this time.
Yeah, it's ready now.
Now it's ready. I will do the modification in the assembly. Sorry. So the goal here is to update the front server. They provided me a new image from the front server. So as it is not automated, I just modify the image. They provided me the name, that is this one. Okay. So now a new pipeline will be triggered in order to update this. During this time, we can go back and see the merge request, what happened for it.
On the component project?
Yeah, so it's from the from the last demo. So here, only nothing special. Manual job had been triggered in order to start the stop review in the assembly pipeline. And we can see here in the assembly that, in fact, this stop review job have deleted. No. Okay, this one. I've deleted all the objects inside here. So all the objects that were deployed.
In fact, what happened is that each time you clean a branch on the project, it will trigger this unstop manual step in the pipeline. And in this case, we say when it's unstop event, then you will delete all the objects for this environment. So in case you will manually clean the branch or merge the merge request, it will also clean the branch. Then your environment will be cleaned automatically.
Yeah. So we can see here, if we refresh, there is no more the master the change banner environment. And the other one is deployed. So the front is here. We can take the route and see our new UI.
And you also see in OpenShift that you are using the new image correctly.
Yeah, here. The name of the image has changed, and we can see our new UI.
So this is the V2. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the little demo we wanted to do. So here, I think we show that we can add this on-demand environment pipeline in almost any project. In fact, we did a demo with just JBoss EAP and Angular technologies, but internally we did a lot of tests with other legacy technology, like Oracle database. Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Oracle database. Or WebSphere application server, and to be honest, it works. It just takes a lot of time to instantiate the environment, but it works. So we never recommend to do that in production, that's for sure. We are just trying to improve the development lifecycle. But in fact, we think that this workflow is working with almost any project, even legacy project. Just sometimes you will need to adapt the workflow, and maybe you will not deploy a new environment at each commit, as it will take some time, maybe tens of minutes. But you could easily schedule the same environment creation on a nightly basis, for instance. And as I said, this is working with a lot of different legacy technologies. In fact, the main limitation, I think this is the next slide, we say applications have to be reasonably possible to Dockerize. When you are Dockerizing WebSphere application server or Oracle database, the problem you have is to have a silent installation and configurable silent installation. So when it starts to be complicated to configure on the fly, then maybe it's not a good idea to put in such environments. So we did it, but it's not what we will recommend. But for instance, with JBoss EAP, that we are still delivering solution, so product to a customer which have to be working on JBoss EAP. This is working pretty well. So just to say that this workflow can be adapted, and here we just demo the most happy case. That's clear.
So another limitation is when you are working on several components. The first one, where you merge your modification, the pipeline will destroy the environment on your branch. So hopefully on the assembly, the branch will not be deleted. So you can trigger a new pipeline in the assembly that will recreate your environment in order to continue the development on the other components. Some next steps that we have seen is, for example, first, when you have many components, it could be great to be able to dynamically activate or deactivate some of them in order to test different configurations. Another thing is when you are working with many components, something like a centralized monitoring for the build status could be great also. And to be able to have a way to see all the component images that are built. Something that could be also very useful is to use a bot, a chatbot. In fact, something like Slack or Teams. This bot can notify you when a status of a component is updated, and when also environments are ready, updated, or cleaned. Okay, so
and just about the bot, it could be also interesting for people that are not technical to be able to instantiate new environment based on some component. For instance, for demo. So if you have a great experience with a bot in Teams or Slack, it could be also easier for some people to instantiate new environment.
So for this presentation, we have built some tools. So they are all available on GitLab.com. In at this URL, you can find the front, the back, and the assembly project, all the CI template, the OCCI project, and also the slides. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
If you have any question, we have still 1 minute.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Can you repeat the question?
So you mean it's working on feature branch, but also on master branch? That's the question?
Yes, no. So if we set in place regression tests
Mm-hmm.
like Selenium, we could detect
Yeah.
regression as soon as the branch is merged. So before reaching the production.
Yeah, sure. As we say, you can adapt the workflow with any project. So here we have only integration tests with REST, but you could have some Selenium tests on the assembly project. And so then you can fork this assembly project in your component team and adapt the test, adapt the pipeline to run some version of the pipeline in your feature branch, some other version in the production, so in the master branch. So yeah, you could certainly be able to test your UI with Selenium, both on the master branch or on the feature branch, if I understood the question.
And currently, the integration tests that we have set up for this pipeline, they are using Postman scripts. They are run using Newman.
Mm-hmm. Any other question? Thank you.
Thank you.